Hi, my name's Don Fishback, and I want to welcome you to Odds Advantage. In this three-part training series, I'm going to show you how you can get what some people consider to be an unfair advantage and win as much as 95% of your options trades. Now, we're going to have some fun today, but before we do, I'm going to give you a little background about myself. I got started in the financial services business 1984, so a long time ago, and I progressed my way up till I was director of research of the largest options-only research center in the United States. Then, in 1993, I left to form my own company, dedicated to a single purpose: finding a way to control your odds of winning. For 3 years, I painstakingly dissected every element of the monstrous Black-Scholes model on which the price of every option is based, until one day I made a discovery so mind-blowing to the world of options it was like Pythagoras telling ancient Greece the earth was round. And I called it odds, because it literally lets you control your odds of winning. As a result, over the past 4 years, a period during which the S&P 500 went nowhere, and even Warren Buffett could barely make a profit, the potential compounded return from just one of my odds advantage services totaled 4,285%. And in a minute, I'll tell you why I feel sure you can do every bit as well. But first, I want to make one thing very clear. This is not a sales pitch. If you want sales, you need to watch another video, because I wouldn't even take your money today, even if you wanted to give it to me. On the contrary, you'll receive a free gift worth $14.95 just for joining me today. Now let me give you 5 reasons, in addition to the fact that I'll send you winning trade suggestions you can just read to your broker, why, regardless of what you've experienced in the past, you can now have the power to earn a compounded return of 4,285% in the next 4 years. First is the tremendous cost efficiency you'll enjoy when trading options. You can purchase an option for a fraction of the cost of the underlying stock. That's why it takes very little money to get started. Second, the built-in safety net. Following my methods, it is literally impossible to lose more than a modest predetermined dollar amount. Third is the power of leverage. You benefit from the price action of 100 shares of stock for every option you buy. Fourth is the non-directional trade alternatives. You can easily structure a trade that will produce a nice profit, whether the market goes up or down. And fifth, as you'll soon see, is because the secret breakthrough you're about to discover will effectively give you an unfair advantage. And really, once you've got an unfair advantage, making loads of money can become child's play. Imagine winning 76 trades in a row without a single loser in the bunch, banking the profits from 301 trades with just 5 losers. Do the math. That's 98.4% profitable. And how about chalking up 707 wins out of 732 trades? If you like to win, and I think we all do, you've got to admit those are some exciting numbers. And the best part is, the unfair advantage revealed in this video is empowering everyday people, possibly much like you, to start winning big from day one. For instance, Joe. He's a high school coach and phys ed teacher. He's a perfect example. He discovered my unfair advantage over Christmas vacation, and he's already looking forward to hanging up his whistle and trading full time. Here, I'm going to let Joe tell you about it.
I had some spare time over Christmas break and thought I'd see if I could make some money. So I put on 3 trades following Don's high probability strategy. Lo and behold, all 3 were winners. And within 5 weeks, I was $18,000 richer. I'm a competitor. I play sports. I like action, and I like to win. Using Don's high probability strategy, I'm 5 for 5, 100% winners. And just in a couple of months, I made $24,125 profit. That I can use to pay off some bills. I'm nearing my retirement, so I'm more interested in supplementing my income than going for the big kill. Cash flow, that's what I wanted, and that's what I got. $10,000 a month suits me fine. My wife and I would like to do a little traveling after I retire, but really, what I mostly want is to spend some serious time trading. The thrill of victory really can be addictive.
You know what? Joe's right. Winning is addictive. And as you'll see for yourself, when you put the odds of winning on your side, it can be addictive. Okay, I admit it. At first, I did hold Joe's hand, just until he got his confidence up, and I'll be happy to help you too. The odds advantage will be available soon, and when it is, you too will have access to specific trade suggestions you can read word for word to your broker and seek exciting profits on 95% of your trades starting day one. You'll get exclusive educational materials that will give you an unfair trading advantage. You'll never have to rely on anyone again. So you get hand-holding guidance to start so you gain the confidence you need to succeed. As a matter of fact, you might even win a copy of Odds Advantage and get the chance to enjoy instant success for free. Still skeptical? Well, let me tell you the facts about how easily you can gain an unfair trading advantage. Fact one, and I want to say this right up front, you do not need any prior knowledge about trading options to make money from what you're about to learn. I have important information to share with you today, and I don't want you thinking for some reason that it doesn't pertain to you, because I'm pretty sure it does. Fact two, you do not need to decipher head and shoulders, cups and saucers, double tops, double bottoms, or any other kind of cryptic chart patterns. In fact, you don't even need to look at a price chart. Fact number three, you do not need to pore through corporate financial statements or do fundamental analysis in any way whatsoever. Fact number four, only one thing really matters when it comes to you gaining an unfair advantage, and that's the probability of winning, which is why you heard Joe talk about placing high probability trades and winning all of them. So we're going to talk about probability for a minute, because that's the key to everything we do. Probability is the key. So let's talk about it. There's a 100% probability some things will happen. For example, the sun coming up tomorrow morning. And there's a 100% probability that some things won't happen, like rolling a 14 when 6 is the highest number on a pair of dice. But what about rolling a 2? Casinos are full of people willing to bet on snake eyes. So what do you suppose their odds of winning are? Well, here's two 6-sided dice to give you 36 possible combinations. 6 of those 36 combinations total 7. So the probability of rolling a 7 is 6 divided by 36, or 16.7%. But there's only one way to get snake eyes. So your probability is only 2.8%. It's the same thing rolling boxcars or double sixes. Now we're going to look at a game with 3 dice. Notice there are 16 possible totals, 3 through 18 instead of 2 through 12. And the numbers with the best odds are now 10 and 11, each with 12.5% probability. Let's add another dice. So now we've got 4 dice in this game. See how with each additional dice our chart looks more and more like a bell curve? Also, because there are more possible numbers, the odds are more spread out, and the highest probability keeps getting lower. With 4 dice, 14 has the highest odds at 11.3%. To determine the odds of rolling a 10 or lower, you'd add up all the columns in that range for a total of 15.9%. That also means there's an 84.1% chance of rolling something greater than 10. Now let's consider this. What if you had an infinite number of dice? If the number of dice were infinite, then you'd get a perfect bell curve. Now think of the stock market, a game where the possibilities are endless. Now, as I said before, every option is priced using the Black-Scholes formula or some derivative extension of it. And the heart of the formula is a simple bell curve representing the average daily price movement of the stock or index. But in this illustration, I've added a second graph. The orange columns are a simulation of what would happen if the stock market behaved like a perfect bell curve that's assumed in the Black-Scholes formula. If the simulation in the stock's price remained unchanged, this center column would be incremented up by 1 unit. If the price went down 1 standard deviation, which is kind of like a percentage point, this column would be incremented up a unit. And if the price went up 1 standard deviation, this column would be incremented up, and so on and so forth. So the Black-Scholes uses something like this to calculate an option's price, but instead of using those increments, it assumes a perfect bell curve in which all columns line up inside the line as it does in this fictional illustration. This smooth bell curve is what we assume with Black-Scholes. But when you look at this real-world graph of the S&P 500, you can see price fluctuations don't conform to the model at all. Now here's the bell curve upon which the option prices are based. And here we see that the actual count is significantly greater than the model in this central area of limited volatility. That is, the market makes more small moves than the bell curve suggests. Then, down here in both corners where the columns are much higher than the bell curve line, we have 2 big fat tails. It's like getting snake eyes much more often than once in every 36 rolls. If that happened at a casino, they'd think you're playing with loaded dice. What's really interesting is that this is a probability chart of an index, like I said, the S&P 500. And the reason we chose 1952 till now is that prior to that they had weekend trading. So this is the S&P 500 since weekend trading stopped. So that's that graph. Now wait till you see the fat tails on an individual stock. This is a graph of Constellation Brands. They're the world's largest wine distributor, and to a lesser degree they also distribute beer and spirits. And here we have the bell curve, looking exactly the same as it did for the S&P 500. But notice for the histogram, which is what those columns are, the columns in the middle curve, which count the number of small moves in the stock, are much lower than the bell curve, which means this stock makes fewer small moves than what's assumed by the bell curve. Meanwhile, the columns in the outer regions, which count the number of big moves, are far greater than the bell curve. Heck, we've got actual counts spilling out of the bell curve everywhere. And look at this big fat tail down at the bottom. Nearly 1% of all daily moves are completely off the charts. Now, in all fairness, I have to say, Fisher Black and Myron Scholes developed their Nobel Prize-winning model in the early 1970s when the computer age was at its infancy. So our counting method, which requires massive storage and computation, would have been inconceivable at this time. But now, vast storage and powerhouse computers come cheap, so we take the bell curve right out of the equation and use actual counts instead. And that brings us back to fact 5. With fact 5, if you use an accurate measurement, which I'll be happy to give you, while everybody else relies on a model that's seriously flawed, you gain what might be called an unfair advantage. I call it the odds advantage, because it's all about putting the odds of winning on your side. And the best part is, it makes trading options easy. Now, I already tore apart the monstrous Black-Scholes formula. I threw out what doesn't work and distilled the rest down to a simple action plan that does work. Finally, you've got the winning edge you've always wanted. Just listen to Paul. He'll tell you. 14 years in the aerospace industry was enough for Paul. He's a confirmed bachelor with 3 muscle cars, 2 Harley motorcycles, and a passion for playing golf. Paul has supported his enviable lifestyle for the past 12 years by trading options. Let's hear what he has to say.
Since I have a mathematical background myself, Don's approach made perfect sense to me, so I added it to the other strategies I was using at the time, and it worked really well. When the others would fail, his methods would keep coming through. Winner, winner, winner. It was just so good to have something that finally worked. With Don, you don't even have to look at a chart. He's got a formula to determine the magnitude of a move over a specific period of time. And chart analysis isn't part of the process. All you need to know is if the options are overpriced. And Don's way of calculating profitability and probability is spot on. In fact, it's so accurate, ever since 2000, I've been able to trade for a living. Basically, it's like having a cash faucet you can turn on at any time just by placing another trade. And now being able to trade in an IRA with no tax liability, it's a whole new ball game. It really is awesome.
A cash faucet you can turn on anytime? That is awesome. Being a mathematician, Paul saw the advantage of odds calculations right away. And then, when everything else failed, odds came through with one win after another, which is pretty exciting proof. And in video 2, I'll show you how it's done. But before I tell you about the surprises to come, I want to remind you of the most important thing Paul said. Paul said, because of the odds advantage, he has not worked a single day in over 12 years. And Paul's a young guy with lots of expensive toys. What do you think you'll do when you have the odds advantage? While you dream away your future, let me warn you, you cannot purchase odds advantage at this time, but you can register to win odds advantage for free. Watch this video to the end and then follow the link below to enter. And when you do, you will become an instant winner. Just for entering, you'll receive Options for Beginners, a 100-page ebook full of easy-to-follow instructions that take you step by step through all the basics of options trading. And to go with it, you'll also receive my latest report, How to Win at least 80% of Your Option Trades for 50 Straight Years and Counting. This report reveals every detail of a simple strategy that has produced 80% winning trades throughout more than 50 years of hypothetical backtesting. The information contained in this valuable gift, which is free, normally sells for $14.95, and it'll tell you everything you need to duplicate these results. Okay, in video 1, we turn conventional methods upside down. Next, we're going to open the spigot and let the cash flow like Paul said, with the amazing odds advantage high profit strategy. Now, odds advantage has 2 main non-directional strategies. The conservative high probability strategy, which has a profit potential of 10 to 20%, and as you'll soon see in video 3, the probability of winning is in the neighborhood of 95% actually. So that's a steady income that you can count on. The other strategy is our ambitious high profit strategy, It accepts slightly more risk and has shown an average profit potential of 73.8% on better than 80% of all trades. Now think about that for a minute. Average potential profit of 73.8% on 88% of your trades. A system that can produce profits like that you have got to see, so please don't miss video 2. Thanks for watching this first training video. I hope you enjoyed it, and don't forget to follow the link below. Register to win Odds Advantage and get options for beginners plus how to win at least 80% of your option trades for free. Bye for now, and I'll see you in video 2.